What is up, guys? Today I want to talk about some of the struggles of owning your own clothing brand while you still work a 9 to 5. Alright, so if some of you don't know, my name is Dylan. I run Wretched Clothing, and I still work a full-time job. We've been doing Wretched Clothing since 2018, late 2018, and we haven't been like full on doing this project except probably for the last couple of years, last 2 years really, because while I still work at this same job, my schedule used to look way different than it does now. Now, I work Monday through Friday, and I'm off at 3 o'clock. So my work balance is way easier than it used to be. And that's what I want to talk about first. When you have a full-time job and you're trying to do a business on the side, it can be really hard to figure out your work balance, your work-life balance. It can be very difficult. I've definitely struggled with that in the past. When you work all day and you're trying to answer emails and you're trying to do stuff while you're at work, but you don't want to, you can only take so much time to do those things while you're at work. You don't want to get fired from your day job or anything like that. But yeah, it can be tough trying to do all those things at one time. So mostly I come home, and when I get off at 3, if I have orders to do or anything to do in town, I get all that done before I get home. Now, I get home roughly 3 hours before my wife does, so there is a lot of time for me to get things done before she gets home, because I don't want to be working on things forever into the night. Now, that happens. My clothing brand revolves around motorcycle events. I do motorcycle stuff. I'm in that space. I've even got stuff for motorcycles and not just clothes. So I kind of have to go around that, and we do events. I'm a vendor at a lot of different things. This Saturday coming up is my last event, and I believe it is our 15th or maybe even 17th event, but it's in there somewhere. We've done a lot of stuff, and that can drive you crazy. And I make a lot of the stuff. I mean, you're watching me fold shirts and do all that right now because I've got to restock a few things for an upcoming event. And that balance can be really hard to do when I work 8 hours, come home, I gotta do stuff around the house. There are chores to be done, things to upkeep, all those things. I do have a wife I do enjoy spending time with, so I gotta do that also. But that work balance can be really hard. You really have got to figure out what works best for you, and you have to understand that, a lot of times your clothing brand has to run a little slower than you wish it would because you have things you have to take care of. Unfortunately, your clothing brand or your second job or your hobby or whatever you want to call it has to take a back seat to what's going on. It just is what it is. You have to worry about your livelihood. But let's jump into something that is kind of my business related, and it's doing shows. If you have a clothing business or some type of business where you're a vendor at certain things, hopefully some of these things will help you, some of the struggles that I'll deal with, and we'll talk about it and see where those stack up. Like I said before, we're on our 15th or 17th, somewhere around their events this year. Some are local, some are not. This is a local event. I don't have to go far. It's not that bad, but I've got to stock stuff. I've got to make videos about where I'm going. I got to make, a video of that day. I've got to do all these things to keep up with all my social media and keep basically marketing going. I don't really have a marketing budget. I don't do a lot of ads. I'm working it slowly because I'm putting most of my money back into the business. Well, pretty much all my money. We're not really making money doing this at this current time. So we're constantly working, constantly flowing. Just yesterday, I had to spend the day working on a vehicle because I have a truck that we take to these events. And our last event we were at, the battery died. Luckily, we had a jump box with us. I just keep it in the truck because we're out of town a lot, and we had to use that. So yesterday, I spent $140 to go get a new battery, put it in the truck, and we're squared away. That's the cost of doing business. But once we got all that done, we inventoried what we had, what we needed to get this event going. We've got mostly everything we need. We just have to now package everything up and get it going, and then we also have to make some hats. Hats are almost ready to be made, but I just have to sit down and do them. Today is currently Monday. They have to be done by Friday so I can pack everything up and get that moving. So time management is a huge deal. You really got to pay attention to your time, what you're doing, how you're spending your time, how long things take, and where is your best efforts going to be used. You can't, when you have a small business, especially like a clothing brand where you're doing so many different things, you don't get to go home and just sit on the couch and watch TV. It's not something you really get to do because you have to work towards things. So have that in mind. You got to keep working. But it does pay off. It is rewarding. It's not just, work all the time. It is fun, and you get to enjoy things. But back to being a vendor, you do have to keep things under control for spending, emails, constant talk through different businesses, and more than likely the marketing directors for all these businesses of shows you're doing. You got to pick hotels, you got to pick routes, you got to take time off, and you really got to pick the right events, right? Because if you're working a full-time job like I am, I only get so much vacation time a year, and if I wanted to just do local events on Saturday, that's fine, but that's not where the money is at. That's not where the growth is at. You have to get around. You have to go out, and you got to go to different places, different cities, and you've got to get out there. So unfortunately, your vacations are pretty much these shows that you're doing. It is what it is, but you will be better for it. You have to just keep at it, keep working, and you will do just fine. When you're making a little bit of money, people probably think, you made $2,000 at this show. That's awesome. Or you did $2,000 in sales at this show. Well, did you have to pay for a hotel to get there? Did you have to pay to be at that show? And if you had $2,000 in revenue, what is your cost of goods? Because your profit, it's got to be minus your operating costs. So if your operating costs were a decent amount, and let's say your operating costs were $500, let's just say it cost you $500 to be there, plus gas, but you didn't have to get a hotel. That's awesome. But then you have your cost of goods. So what was your cost of goods? What if your cost of goods was $1,000? Well, if your cost of goods was $1,000 and you spent $500 to be there, you're $1,500 in. So you only made $500. But then you have taxes on that $2,000. So owning your small business like this, especially if you have like one main revenue stream, you might spend, or you might get a lot of money, but you're probably going to spend most of that. Because let's say you have an awesome show and you sell out of a bunch of things. Well, you can't just be like, oh yeah, look at all this money I made. You got to spend that money to restock on all your stuff. So if you got cost of goods in, cost of goods out, you got to restock, you got to pay taxes, you got to put money aside for taxes. You got to do all these things. Money is kind of, especially at the beginning, money is a fleeting thing. If you're doing it just for the money, then you're pretty much doing it for all the wrong reasons. Because it is just not going to work out for you in the long run. I guarantee it. Alright, so we got most of all these shirts folded up, getting ready for this show. Let me clear down because I have another thing I need to do. Alright, now that we got our t-shirts pretty much done, we got flannels in, we got these in for the show. I'm going to be releasing these at the end of the month. They're probably already out by the time you're watching this video. But the problem is, the guy I got these from, he didn't tag the outside. Yeah, so there is a size tag on the garment, but there's not a size tag on the plastic. He screwed up. So we have to go through, sort all of this, and tag them. That is a huge bummer. So let's get into that. I gotta turn my hat backwards because this is real work now. So I'm going to have to go through here and look at the tag and figure out what size it is and get this sorted so I can tag them myself so I know what in the hell I have. Yeah, so this is going to be a lot of fun. This is also something that happens. Things don't work out like they're supposed to when you do things. So you have to figure it out on the fly. You've got to work through problems because you wear many, many hats when you own your own business. And you're the marketer, you're the owner, you're the salesman, you're the shipper, you do everything when you have a small business like this, right? And you're in charge of absolutely everything. Everything is your responsibility. So you've got to make sure that quality control is there, things happen, you have to take a loss sometimes. You've just constantly got to work at your craft and make sure even if you take the loss, your customer doesn't. And that can take a pretty big toll on someone's psyche when they are getting hit over the head over some things that are not really their fault, but they're still responsible for it. It's still on them. So you've got to keep pushing, keep going, and you'll get it figured out. Now, one of my other struggles is comparing myself to other people. I think this is a common thing. I think everyone does this. I'm sure, I'm not the only one that does this, but you can't do it, right? Like, you can't compare yourself to other people because their journey is not your journey. You have to compare yourself to yourself. Like, you need to make sure you're doing better than what you've done in the past. You've got to keep that analytics in route. You've got to make sure you're growing, and if you're not, you got to figure out where the problems are. And so knowing where you've come from and your trajectory is pretty important, but you can't always compare yourself to other people. There are plenty of companies. I have friends that have companies who have started them after me and are way higher in like the subscriber, follower, or whatever count. They're doing more business, they're making more money than I am. But I can't compare myself to them because we don't have the same journey. We're not doing the exact same thing. And if he's doing better, then I'm probably doing something wrong. Maybe I can learn. Maybe I can sit back and figure out, okay, what's going on? I need to pump the brakes and get this figured out. That is just something that comes with time, and something you have to constantly remind yourself that, like, hey, look, maybe what I'm doing isn't really working. I can't blame it on anyone else but myself. Sit back, figure out where you went wrong, what you can change. And a lot of times it's a small change. It doesn't have to be this huge, like, oh man, I screwed up, let's figure this out, or it's a failure, it's done. No, at any point you can always change. You can always do a rebuttal. You can figure out your problems, and you can get back on the right track, okay? You don't have to sit there and give up, because that is one thing that I think a lot of people do. They give up way too early. You're right around the corner of success, because success in a small business, especially a clothing brand, is like a hockey stick, right? You can be doing, you're gonna work, and once you start to see success, it is going to be exponential compared to the work that you've been doing. So just stay in there, keep doing it, you're going to be just fine. So yeah, my biggest struggles are time management, constantly figuring out what I'm doing. Yesterday, like I said, I had to work on the truck. Today is Monday. I've got to be completely prepared for the show Saturday. So I'm always running around doing different things. Adding YouTube into the mix is definitely, I don't want to say slowing me down, because there's another good avenue. I like doing YouTube. We are not monetized. If you want to subscribe, hit that like button. That would help. I'd appreciate you. But yeah, being monetized on YouTube is going to be a whole different thing, and it's going to help out tremendously. But I genuinely enjoy it. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you really shouldn't be doing it. I'm not enjoying my 9 to 5, but I'm using that to fund something I do enjoy, and hopefully will get me out of my 9 to 5. So time management's always key. Money management is another thing. You've really got to be able to be an accounting department to know your money coming in, money going out. I'm constantly restocking, reordering, and creating new products. Sometimes things bomb, and you have to be comfortable with when something just bombs and does terrible. You got to be able to pull yourself out of it, mentally and financially. Because, a lot of times, a lot of companies, especially small businesses, they're one bad product away from tanking their business if they don't have a good control of when they release a new product. I have changed my ways multiple times on how I do run my business, so if a product does bomb or something does bad, I can figure it out and get out of it. I'm not reliant on every single thing I do to be a success, because let's face it, that's not going to happen. So time management, money management, ask for help if you need to. Talk to your friends, talk to other business owners. A lot of times they can be very helpful. They want everyone to succeed. There's room for success for everyone in this business, because really the only people who are going to succeed are the ones who are never going to give up. You just got to keep fighting, keep doing, and you're going to be just fine. Another thing that I have thrown into the mix is I'm doing a bike build this winter. I want to do a series to really help build my YouTube. I enjoy that type of content, so I want to make that type of content. Also, next year, we're going to be doing all these booths, doing all these shows. I want to have a really nice bike for my booth, to have my bags and different products that I have, so I can demonstrate different things, and just have a really cool piece for my booth and for my business. So, YouTube, bike build, new releases, 9 to 5. I am scattered. This video is probably scattered, but it's just been kind of weighing on my brain. I wanted to talk about it. If you have any questions about certain types of things in the business, things I do or whatever, maybe I'll make a video about it. Comment down below. But yeah, just keep your time and money managed. You really got to know what you're doing, what's going on, and just make a schedule. Have a calendar, have a schedule, have a chart, whatever, and just, you know, when you work 9 to 5, your business or your company has scheduled you to work 9 to 5, so you need to schedule yourself to do certain things. I've already done house chores. House chores comes first, and now I'm up here doing this. My main thing is to, well, I got to get this video done today, or at least recorded, but I need to pack up all these shirts and hoodies, and I want to get as many of these flannels labeled today. Now, they don't have to get done today, but they need to be done by Wednesday. Same thing with my hats. I need to get my hats done by Wednesday or Thursday, because Friday I'm packing all day long. Saturday we're doing the show, and then Sunday I can recheck everything on inventory. So yeah, that's going to be my schedule for the week. Constant moving, constant doing, but you got to wear a lot of hats if you're going to do this business. I hope you found some worth in this video, some value. I know it's a lot of jumping around, but I'm speaking from the heart here. This is not some scripted thing where I'm just like doing bullet points and be like, if you're going to succeed, I'm not just copying somebody else's video, or I'm not writing or reading from a script that doesn't mean anything. These are genuine problems that I have. These are genuine problems that I think most everyone has, and this is what I'm working on. I'm trying to kill it. I'm trying to help every single one of you kill it. I like to show you a little bit of the background stuff that happens with a small business, specifically in the motorcycle scene. Of course, the GoPro video, or the GoPro battery died right as I was trying to wrap this video up. So just keep your head down, keep your nose to the grindstone, keep working. I believe in you 100%. If you have any of the issues I have, comment down below. Tell me some fixes that you might have done, or if you have any questions and if you want any advice, comment down below. We're going to try to help you out and just tell you what I got going on. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. It would greatly help the channel. Hopefully we're going to get monetized by the end of the year. That's my hope. We're close. We're real close. But as always, keep it wretched.